cue cards, but I'm not going to do it off the cue cards because I don't trust myself. So there is a remarkable amount of similarity between our pictures, Stuart, so bear with me, I'm afraid. So 4 years ago this week, Stuart and I met for the first time in the foyer of the British Library. We had been speaking on the phone for a while, and as I stood there waiting, I became aware of a tall, white-haired bloke in a suit standing in front of me with his back to me. And I looked at him and I thought, that has just got to be him. At this stage, I had been single for 6 years, and I had developed quite a sophisticated level of discernment when it came to men, or I felt I had. I've been on rather a lot of usually disappointing, some shockingly so, first dates, through which I developed a certain radar, which as time went by, I found to be more and more reliable. But in that moment, standing closely behind Stuart, I was pretty unsettled to acknowledge with quite some certainty that this felt different. And that feeling didn't leave me throughout our lunch together. I felt unbelievably nervous, a little bit like now, and no matter how much I told myself to get a grip and relax, I just couldn't. It's fair to say that we fell from one another pretty quickly. Well, I did. He didn't. That's not to say it was plain sailing, because it wasn't at all. But it is quite wonderful to find yourself in love at this stage in our life. And we've always known how lucky we were to have found this. On the surface, Stuart and I are in many respects like chalk and cheese. And of course, Stuart hates cheese and I love cheese. Stuart is essentially a scientific man who is most comfortable dealing in absolutes. Give him a bullet point presentation, the Times crossword and an Excel spreadsheet, and he'll be happy for hours. I am more at home with that which isn't so easily articulated, and the murky world of the unconscious, which doesn't at all lend itself to itself. I can be serious, complicated, and expressive. While Stuart, as well as having the humour of a 9-year-old boy, is more light-hearted, calm, and measured. We are learning from each other, and in our differences are a great match. But we also share some fundamental commonalities. We've both been through difficult times, and from those we've learnt what is and isn't important to us. We value honesty, trust, respect, and friendship, and derive great pleasure from the everyday. We cherish that with which we are blessed, our beautiful children, and our precious families and friends, all of whom mean the world to us. And this would seem like a good time to mention the people that couldn't come here today that were invited. My mum, Stuart's Aunt Helen, Aniston and Alan, and Jenny and Caitlin, all of whom we miss having here today. According to Carl Jung, we spend the first half of life responding to what the world requires of us. But the second half is about responding to what our soul wants of us. Stuart is an exceptionally good man, a gentleman. He makes me happier than I could ever imagine, and more loved than I ever thought possible. And so looking back to that day in the British Library, I think it was my soul that recognised that here was the man with whom I should spend the rest of my life.
Oh.
And I'm looking forward to doing that.
Oh.
So would you please join me in making a toast to my wonderful husband, to Stuart.
Stuart!